You know that horrible, disgusting feeling you get when you commentate on one shitty commentator and then later on you commentate on another shitty commentator that made a shitty commentary on a shitty video made by the same shitty commentator who's still a shitty commentator you commentated on a while back ago? Well, that's pretty much my situation here. So basically what happened was that Mr. Flipper Invaders 782, and before you turn off that video, let me explain. Mr. Flipper Invaders 782 made a rant on Patreon and the people who use it, with Ryan Rhino Mills being the prime example. And for the very few people who actually do care about my thoughts on Flippy's rant, it was another intentionally horrible video Flippy made where all he did was use the burden of proof fallacy, personal incredulity fallacy, and the anecdotal fallacy to get a rise out of people, thus giving them attention, and it highlights how much of a sad, pathetic, pitiful, try-hard Flippy is. And then Lance 1000, who you should be familiar with if you saw David Was Here's commentary on this guy, made a commentary on Flippy's rant in question, and guess what? The commentary wasn't that good, thus why I'm making a commentary on it, obviously. And considering that this was a commentary on Flippy, arguably the easiest user to commentate on in the commentary community at the moment, that's actually pretty sad if you ask me. So with that said, no, I'm not defending Flippy or implying that he made a good video, because I'm not and he didn't. Because his video was in fact horrible, like I said before. It's just that someone just so happened to have made a shitty commentary on a shitty video made by a shitty content creator. There! Happy? Can I go back to pretend that Lance did not commentate on Flippy so I can continue to pretend that Flippy doesn't exist like everyone else has been and should be doing? Or at the very least, a different person entirely that just so happens to also have the name of Flippy? Great! Then allow me to say something before we start the commentary, because I know this will happen if I don't say something based on how Lance reacted to David's commentary on him. Lance, I will be making pot shots at you. I will be a sarcastic douchebag asshole in this commentary, but it won't be because I actually feel that way towards you to the extent that I make it out in this commentary, because I really don't. Rather, it'll be because I'm playing an exaggerated version of myself for entertainment. So if you feel like that I'm being really nasty towards you, I apologize. It's not my intention to make you feel bad. My intention for being that way towards you is to entertain my audience. Nothing more, nothing less. With that said, let's begin the commentary, shall we? While I will give you credit for making your intro shorter than your 60-second long monstrosity of an intro you had previously, it's still too long and you need to make it at most 25 seconds. Oh, and making your intro look as if you actually changed shit from the example intro and then saving it as a different file entirely rather than just putting white boxes over the example version of the intro you made like a lazy ass would do would really help as well.
Hey guys, this is Lance 1000 here, and back with another commentary. Yes, it's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, I deleted my commentary on David. I just didn't like that commentary, so yeah. You probably could already tell that, but, you know, whatever. It is on Jubilee Mirrors if you still want to see it, but, you know, whatever. I guess you could kind of call this a replacement for that video, but whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, like, whatever, man. So, yeah, like, I know I'm rambling, but whatever, man. I could have used a script or whatever to prevent my stuttering or whatever, but whatever, man. So, yeah. Whatever, man. So, yeah. Whatever, man. So, yeah. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that your excessive overuse of the words whatever, yeah, and so yeah is really annoying as shit, and you should probably fix that in the future if you want to be a decent commentator.
Now, this video, I've wanted to commentate on for a little while now. Now, basically, this user known as Mr. Flippy Invader 782 decided to make a rant on Patreon just because Ryan, you know, the leader of the bop community, decided to open up a Patreon account, you know? So, he decided to make a rant on it, and man, this rant was just terrible, and since I'm mainly a ranter, I have every right to criticize this video. So, yeah.
1. Flippy didn't make that rant singularly because Ryan made a Patreon page. It was also because he does not like the system implemented into Patreon and how people use Patreon, because in his opinion, it's a cheap way for people who have little to no popularity on YouTube to not have to get a partnership with YouTube. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Ryan is not the leader of Bop. It's a group run by all the members in said group through a system already implemented by said members. It's just that Ryan stands out the most when people think of Bop. But just because he's the one that stands out the most in Bop, that doesn't automatically mean he's the leader. So to everyone watching this, please stop calling Ryan the leader of Bop. It annoys the shit out of me every time someone says this.
Now, I can't believe that I forgot to put this commentary on upcoming videos in my credits.
That is fan-fucking-tastic. No one gives a shit. Skip!
Hello beautiful people, this is Mr. Flippy Bear 782 here bringing you a Flippy rant. Now I know in my update video I said I was going to show my face, but due to complications on not knowing where the hell I put my video camera, sadly it's only going to be my voice and a still frame of a Patreon symbol or something.
Hey, excuse me, do you have a webcam? They're built into practically every computer now. Do you have one? You shouldn't worry about a video camera if you have a webcam. Just saying.
No, there are tons of computers, specifically computer monitors designed for desk work, that don't have a webcam built into it. And even if Flippy did have a webcam built into his computer, he probably didn't want to use it because A, it has shitty video and audio quality, B, because his camera has considerably better video and audio quality than the webcam built into his computer, or C, all of the above, which is implying that he even has a webcam built into his computer, which I think it's possible he doesn't, thus why he would use his camera.
So yeah, what initially brought this rant to begin with was when Ryan Rhino Mills, who you know is the infamous leader of the Bop commentary community,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna skip just a little bit because I already explained this in my introduction to this video, so yeah, skip.
Okay, it's time for another quick PSA to all up-and-coming commentators. Unless you're doing it as a joke or in a comedic way for the sake of entertainment like what I did earlier, do not ever leave a clip going for a few seconds only to say,
I'm gonna skip over this because I already went over this, ha 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 ha.
like a fucking dumbass, because it adds nothing. There's no reason for it to be in the video in the first place, and annoys me and a bunch of commentators whenever any commentator does this.
he even admitted that, attention, I have become a big sellout by having by opening a Patreon account, which I will explain later why he is an actual sellout.
Oh, why is he a sellout? Oh wait, I forgot. It's because he opened up a Patreon account.
Yeah, sarcasm is really not your thing, is it?
The Fiery Henry, either the Fiery Henry or Alien Guy 34 said getting a job is easier said than done. Well, that's a pretty bold and controversial statement, since there are tons of factors that could work into that getting a job. Now, I don't know much about getting a job, but I'll say this. I'm planning to get a summer job this summer in retail, like a friggin', I don't know, bagger at HEB or something, and it is easy. All I have to do is fill out the application and
Hello? Hello? I thought I was watching this video about you ranting on Patreon. Not your summer plans.
Ugh. Are we seriously doing this shit again, Lance? Really? Oh, that's not relevant to the subject. I thought we were talking about job, not your summer plans. Oh my fucking god. Okay. I guess I gotta walk you through this shit because apparently you suck ass at analyzing shit. What Flippy was trying to say was that Illinois Guy 34 and the Fiery Henry was saying that it was easier said than done to get a job, and Flippy was trying to prove that wrong by saying, no, it's easy to get a job. All you gotta do is fill out an application, say you're available whenever, bam, you got the job. And use it as summer job as an example to back that up. And you want to know what the real sad part is? This is one of the easiest, if not the easiest argument in that video to debunk, because all you had to do was say, well, like you said, you never had a job or the experience of getting a job. So really, you cannot speak on the matter, because if you had the experience of getting a job, then you would know that there's so much more factors that play into getting a job than just filling out an application saying you're available whenever. Oh my fucking... This was so fucking basic. This is so elementary. Do you really suck that much dick at analyzing videos? My fucking god.
and just make sure I say I'm available to work on weekdays, weekends, pretty much all 24/7, and I'll get in. So it's not that hard to get a simple job like that.
Okay, I'm guessing I'm not gonna see much videos from this guy during the summer. At least in my opinion, I think that's a good thing.
Implying that anyone actually watches Flippy's videos anymore. Spoilers, no one does.
Getting a job is easier said than done is a pretty bold statement.
Well, as far as I know, I think it depends on the job. Like, if you want to be a doctor or something, you have to go through, like, 8 years of college. But if you want to work at McDonald's, you just have to be a certain age and basically sign a form, and that's pretty much it. So, Mr. Flippy Invader, it depends on the job, more than anything else.
I mean, I would somewhat give you that if we were also talking about professions that require college degrees on top of basic jobs. But guess what? We're not talking about professions that require college degrees for a specific major. We're talking specifically and singularly about basic jobs. And you essentially saying exactly what Flippy said about how easy it is to get a basic job really doesn't help your case, since you're actually trying to prove this point wrong. Yet, by saying exactly what Flippy said, you're basically proving his point wrong, which actually is very counterproductive to you proving this point wrong, which is a real shame considering that you could have made the argument that a lot of people have been turned down for several different jobs before they finally got hired by someone because, like I said earlier, there's a lot of factors that play into getting hired. Lance, I know you're trying. I really know you're trying, but you're just missing so many opportunities to actually prove his point is wrong, and you're not taking them, and it's really fucking frustrating.
To make, and neither Ellen Guy or Fire Henry, whoever said it, backed it up enough to prove their point. Also, let's take a note DSP Gaming. He is already partnered with Machinima, so he already makes money off his videos, but since of course he's the biggest hypocrite and asshole of the entire century, he gets less and less views, which therefore means less and less money. So of course he uses Patreon as a backup to make up for those lost views, but even then I really doubt they'll make up. Maybe he'll get like 5% back, but that's it. So yeah, with DSP's case, it's just an excuse for money.
Apparently, all you need to do to tick off this guy is to get a Patreon account. Good to know.
Oh my god, yes! We know this! We already knew this when Flippy's video started! You do not need to reestablish something that fucking painfully obvious! My god, Lance! Like, seriously, this is one of the biggest gripes I have with your commentaries. You keep reestablishing the obvious. Please stop. Please fix that, because it fucking pisses me off every time you do this, because the way you do it does not make their point wrong.
Use that job and just continue working until you make enough money yourself, and don't rely on others to pay for it for you. If you don't have a job, then get a job, you lazy freaking bum. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally got them, man. Yeah. Take that. You don't have a job, even though I don't have a job myself. Because I just can't take people who open up Patreon accounts. I have lost all faith in people who...
Seriously, bro, is that really the fullest extent of your creativity when it comes to mocking Flippy? That's extremely saddening, to be honest, considering that we are in fact talking about Flippy.
They're essentially lying through their teeth, because people can say anything and they'll think, oh, it's like they're treating their audience like sheep, like, oh, they won't know I'm e-begging because I'm a generous person, which if you know Ryan Mills, he's not a generous person. He's the biggest egotist tryhard I've ever seen in the commentary community, even worse than Steven the Master.
I hate to say it, but I think you're an even bigger tryhard than Ryan.
Fucking understatement of the millennium. Now start making actual arguments instead of stating the fucking obvious.
People who open Patreon, they have these... Patreon works is like they have these rewards for people who do decide to pay money, so they're not just paying money and getting nothing back in advance. They have these rewards. Basically, this is what it tells me. Oh, a viewer who sends me money, oh, you're cool. You're gonna get all these rewards that you may or may not give a shit about. Viewers who don't want to give me money and just want to watch my videos for the fun of it, fuck you. You get nothing. You get nothing from me.
Okay, I will admit, maybe that's them being a bit greedy.
That's not them being greedy. That's how Patreon works. Hell, that's how basic economy works. If you don't pay for the rewards, you don't get the rewards. Same with shopping. You don't pay for the products, you don't get the products. That's basic economy. It's really not that fucking complicated to comprehend. How the fuck do you not get this? God damn.
Video games is at the top. Video games is at the top. Let's face it, it's fact. And yeah, video gamers. I mean, sure, why not just sell out and cash in on whatever on the video games and you make money off of that? But commentators, they're not. The commentators don't have that big of an audience. Don't have that big of an audience.
He didn't say that commentators has no audience whatsoever. He was saying that the size of the audience for the commentary community doesn't even compare to the size of something like Let's Plays or video game based channels, which is true. They obviously don't. But the problem with Flippy's point is that he's assuming that everyone who uses Patreon uses it as their only source of income when that is not the case, thus making Flippy's point invalid. I'm gonna end the video here since Lance doesn't really say anything of merit for the rest of the commentary. Final thoughts? When you fuck up a commentary on Mr. Flipper Invader 782, fucking Flippy, and you end up missing the points of his arguments, which were shitty to begin with, then not only do you fail at the commentary game, but you also fail at the game of life in general. But in all seriousness, I wholeheartedly believe that any decent commentator could have brought up legitimately great arguments as to why Flippy's video on Patreon was stupid because, like I said at the beginning of the video, Flippy's video was in fact horrible, and Lance probably would have had a good commentary on his hands if he actually paid any attention to the video and what Flippy was trying to say, and he didn't keep stating the fucking obvious. But here's the problem with that. Ryan and DeTurvey said this months ago for a reason, and I'll say it again for up-and-coming commentators such as Lance. Guys, ignore Flippy. Just like a bunch of commentators, I've blocked him because he's a fucking idiot that blatantly says and does retarded ass shit for the sake of stirring up controversy. So as a result, people will commentate on him. Thus, he'll get attention or even better, commentary material for his channel. And he doesn't give a shit about what you have to say. He just wants attention because he is an attention whore and one of the saddest, most pathetic, and pitiful tryhards I've ever come across. And it irks the fucking shit out of me to see his comments on other commentators' videos because of that. Lance, bro, I know you're trying. I really honestly do. But I think you need to renovate your commentary style and the way you make your commentaries and work on the stuff myself and others have brought up. Then I think you could end up being a really, really good commentator, or at the very least, a decent commentator. You just need to focus on improving on the weakest areas in your commentaries, because your commentaries right now are not that impressive, and I think that you really could do so much better than this. I really honestly do. And I think you could pull it off if you really put the effort in doing so. But as of right now, like I said, your commentaries are really not that impressive, and you really need to renovate your commentary style and the way you make it. So today's commentary will be on the Fiery Henry. Yes, that is his name. And I swear to fucking God, if you change your channel name one more goddamn time, I will beat your fucking name. So what is Henry's commentary on? Well, Mine Out of Sync remade his commentary on Tommy Sotomayor's video on Caitlyn Jenner, then KuroMeFan95 made a commentary on that remade commentary, and then the Fiery Henry made a commentary on that commentary. And today I'll be making a commentary on that commentary. So with all that said, let's begin the commentary, shall we?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know who Mind Out of Sync is, don't worry, I'm not really caught up on the whole thing either. But from what I can gather, she made a commentary on this guy, Loudon made a commentary on that, she responded, Morgan and RCD5 made a co-op on it, she responded again, and now this guy made a commentary on that.
This may seem like a nitpick, but bear with me. If you watch Kuro's original commentary or paid any attention to the degrees that I listed out not too long ago, then you will know that none of those videos have anything to do with the commentary that Henry is covering. So with that said, I'm really confused as to why he would bring those videos up when none of those videos are relevant to Kuro's commentary. Was it done as a joke? If so, then, well, I don't get the joke. It falls flat because it doesn't build up to anything. It's just kinda there. And the fact that your mannerisms really aren't the best really doesn't help matters, since it makes it difficult to tell whether or not you're joking at times. Like here! Or was it a legitimate mistake that was overlooked in the editing process? If so, then how do you not catch on to a mistake as glaring as that? I mean, you did look over the video before you uploaded it, right? Or were you in fact aware of this mistake being in this video, but decided not to fix it in an effort to get this commentary out as quickly as possible? Which, to be honest, doesn't surprise me due to how glaring of a mistake this is, and just how lazy the commentary comes off as in general. Then, yeah, that's just fucking lazy on your part. The too long didn't give a shit version? Don't be lazy. It's frustrating and annoying for everyone. Thanks.
And just not... It was just unorganized in a fucking mess. Okay? So, I have to do this remake in order to clear my name up and shit. And please, if you're a Tommy Sotomayor fan or whatever, don't come on my channel with this bullshit, okay? Don't come over here flaming me and shit.
You are aware, of course, that not every single person that has criticized you is a fanboy of this guy. I'm sitting here criticizing you right now, and honestly, right up until today, I have never actually heard of this guy.
And are you aware that he wasn't even really saying that the people who commentated on him were fans of him? He was just saying fans of him in general. Jesus, you're an idiot.
Yeah, and are you aware that he never specifically mentioned the commentators that criticized him, or anything related to the CC for that matter? And even if he did, how would that discredit his point in any capacity? It wouldn't. And I say this because the point that he was getting across was that not everyone that criticized him or would criticize him would be a fan of Tommy's, let alone know who Tommy is. Which, surprise, doesn't just apply to commentators that have commentated on Mine Out of Sync. So in other words, that was a pretty underwhelming straw man you pulled there.
Now, your half-breed president came out and he tweeted Bruce Jenner, and he wanted to be the first one to show Bruce Caitlyn Jenner some love because I guess Bruce Jenner broke Barack Obama's record in getting 1 million followers the fastest. Bruce Caitlyn Jenner got $1 million faster than anyone else, and this is the tweet that Barack Obama sent to Bruce Caitlyn Jenner.
This is the most wavy fucking fan I've ever seen.
Really? So rather than pointing out a legitimate flaw with the poor placement of the skip card and how it was poorly placed, you chose to make a lame ass fucking weeaboo joke instead. You wanna know what the legit flaw was that you so good at pointing out and would have made this interjection so perfect? Especially for a commentator like you that likes to critique other people's presentation. This is what KumiFan95 skipped over.
Will you give the same praise to other people who lived a life of a lie and then came out to the truth? As a matter of fact, Barack Obama, why haven't you thought that it was a worthwhile venture what I'm doing with this, which is Fatherless America? Because there's a lot of men who would have liked to spend time with their kids but couldn't, had to walk away or whatever because they had the court system that wouldn't allow them. Where's the courage for those guys that actually fought and lost? Where's the courage, the medal of honor for any father out here who's getting his rights stripped away from him or getting his ass handed to him because some whore he slept with didn't even know, came up 7 years later talking about, I got a baby. Where's the courage of a medal of honor for that? Where's the medal of honor for anybody doing a worthwhile venture? Why is it that you always call what somebody does, which is lying to other people, fucking courage? I would call it courage, coward dog.
If you haven't figured it out yet, he skipped over the segment in Tommy's original video that Mine Out of Sync was actually responded to in the segment that we cut back to after KumiFan95's skip card is done. Meaning, KumiFan95 cut out the segment that actually gave Mine Out of Sync's point context. And because of this, Mine Out of Sync's point no longer makes sense because the one thing that actually gave that point his context is now gone. I mean, yeah, the interjection Mine Out of Sync made before that was completely pointless and it should have been edited out, of course. But the part that actually gives Mine Out of Sync's point context that KumiFan95 cut out was barely 60 seconds long. So really, it makes no sense as to why that particular segment from Tommy's original video was edited out. This was a point given to you on a silver fucking platter, and you chose to make a lame-ass fucking weeaboo joke instead. Wow. And before I go ahead and skip a little bit, I do want to address this. I can understand editing out an interjection the person you're commentating on makes if it has no reason to be there and it only serves to pad out the commentary. Hell, I had to do a lot of that in my last commentary on Sloth Boy. And not just with The Amazing Atheist, but also with Sloth Boy as well. But if you're going to do that, could you possibly, hopefully, maybe, I don't know, make it to where it's not noticeable? Like at all? Or, you know, not as glaringly in your face as...
Firstly, he didn't praise Caitlyn. Secondly...
That? Again, don't be lazy. Thanks.
Firstly, he didn't praise Caitlyn. Secondly, there are different forms of courage, you retard. And maybe if you beat Obama in Twitter followings like Caitlyn did, he would have addressed you as well.
I know this point has been done by every commentator like freaking ever, but hooray for ad hominems.
Okay, seriously, can you put some damn emotion into your voice? Seriously, you've had the same tone throughout the entire fucking video. It's really getting annoying, and it's really blatantly bad in this point especially. Jesus Christ. If anybody has a problem with it, then they're homophobic or transgenderophobic or whatever the fuck.
Well, if you say that trans people should have stamps on the back of their thighs simply for being trans, I would say you're transphobic as well.
Hello, you there, buddy? No? Okay, must have left a clip in editing for no reason. Well, sounds alright to me.
Okay, if you don't know what Henry was addressing, I'll elaborate on the issue here, since Henry was more focused on making a poor attempt at being humorous rather than actually explain what the issue was, because to Henry's credit, this is actually a valid point on his part. Here's what Henry was referring to.
I know this point has been done by every commentator like freaking ever, but hooray for ad hominems.
If anybody has a problem with it, then they're homophobic or transgenderophobic or whatever the fuck.
Well, if you say that trans people should have stamps on their back of their thighs simply for being trans, I would say you're transphobic as well.
You should be allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
Now, the issue with what KuromiFan95 did here was that he said he was going to skip to get to the part that he wanted to cover, right? Only to cut to an interjection made by Mine Out of Sync that KuromiFan95 doesn't even attempt to cover. Which begs the question, what was the point of leaving that in the video if your goal was to get to the point that you wanted to cover, and then not cover that specific part? Wouldn't it have made more sense to cut that out as well? It's not like we're going to miss anything if you do, so why not? So, with that in mind, Henry is not technically wrong here. However, the issue is a combination of Henry not leaving the skip card in the video, thus making it to where his point would have made a lot more sense otherwise, and the shit vague-ass elaboration as to what the actual problem was, thus leaving people like myself and Ryan confused as to what the issue actually was supposed to be at first. In other words, don't make unnecessary edits like that again, and please be more specific next time.
You should be allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. But society should be allowed to feel about it the way that they want. Why is it wrong for me to not like a transgender? Why is it wrong for me to think that being transgender is wrong? Why is it wrong for a person who has Christian values or Muslim values to not think that this is right, based upon the fact that we're not born that way?
No one is upset at the fact that you're disagreeing with them.
Really? Because from what I'm seeing, in all honesty, you seem pretty upset that he disagrees with your lifestyle. Just saying.
I could somewhat agree with that to a point, having seen his other video where he did seem pretty angry. However, in this video in particular, at least from what you've shown me, I have had very little reason to believe he's viciously angry at the guy. So either you're not showing me certain clips, or you're just pulling this point out of your ass. Either one wouldn't surprise me, really.
I don't know what it is specifically, but the way Henry uses the term viciously angry in this segment here really rubs me the wrong way and make Kuromi fans' point seem more extreme than it actually is. Like, sure, he may not be viciously angry, but if you actually watch Mind Out of Sync's commentary, then you would see that he keeps hurling insults and ad hominems at Tommy. Granted, it's not as prominent or as emotionally driven as it was in his previous commentaries, but it's still there, and while a lot, if not most of those moments are not shown in KuromiFan95's commentary, I think there's enough of them that's still present in Kuro's commentary to give you the impression that Mind Out of Sync is clearly upset at what Tommy is saying, given that even in Kuro's commentary, you still see him calling Tommy a dumbass, a retard, etc., and even the tone of his voice sounds like he is, in fact, upset in a lot of parts that are still present in Kuro's commentary.
Apparently you can't. Liberals in the PC crew make it the way you gotta say that this crap that Bruce Jenner is doing is correct. Let me tell you why it's not correct. Because I assume he hurt his wife with his revelation. I assume he hurt his daughter with his revelation. His daughter hers, his children, who went in the past. I guess that's the past, so it's none of their business. But the ones he currently with, when you do stuff like this, your children have to pay for your decision.
Okay, firstly, I don't see where you're getting at, but if you're going to say that Caitlyn is wrong because she came out, then you're being retarded. Are you supposed to tell me that she's supposed to live her life for everyone else? People are usually trans because they hate the way they look. Are you going to sit there and tell me it was wrong for Caitlyn to make herself happy? Secondly, don't sit here and tell me that Caitlyn was wrong for coming out when the fucking Kardashians when they were famous, they were doing all kinds of out-of-control shit.
Okay, I actually forgot to mention this, but your name sounds like some shitty countdown artist name from 2008. And I love that. But other than that, I guess I have nothing to say as well.
What? Like, I have no idea what this was in response to, why it's in response to Mind Out of Sync, what the point of that statement was, the relevancy it has to anything, and why it was even brought up. Like, just Why? So on that confusing ass note, I'm ending the commentary here. Final thoughts. While it's not the worst commentary that I've seen from Henry, though I really wasn't expecting it to be given that his co-op with Jim99 show exists, it is the laziest commentary that I've seen from him, and probably one of the laziest commentaries I've seen in recent memory, ranging from the arguments, to the editing, to the jokes. And it's legitimately shocking when you take into account that this was a commentary made by Henry, someone who has actually proven to be a really, really good commentator, and has made some really well-crafted arguments, really funny jokes, and has a much better understanding of editing and presentation in a commentary than most people in the CC do. So, to see someone who is actually really good in all those categories make a commentary as lazy in all those categories as this commentary is really, really disappointing, and I'm hoping that I never see a commentary like this from Henry again, because I know that he could do so much better than this, and it was really disappointing to watch this commentary knowing that.